what to your heart rate? So it's going to increase your heart rate in order to compensate for the low fluid. And in turn, that rest of that mechanism is going to hold on to fluid, and again, we're going to see an increase in blood pressure. So all of that is a compensatory mechanism that reacts when you have no fluid or we're dehydrated. It's also very big when we talk about cardiac, but there's more to it, but I will get into the more to it. Right, because it also deals with perfusion. Right, because if we're dehydrated, means that we don't have enough blood pumping through the heart, which means that what's happening? We're not perfusing organs, right? Dehydration, okay? If we're not perfusing organs and we don't have enough fluid, how are we going to increase that perfusion to save that person's life so they don't go into shock and die? What's the first thing we're going to do? Hydrate. So fluid resuscitation. Right, we're going to run fluid in very quickly in these patients to build up fluid in the intravascular space. Because when I'm dehydrated, I'm losing fluid from my vessels. Okay? Which means if I'm losing fluid from my vessels, my blood, what's going to happen if I get blood? Small. Thick. All right? Because if I'm losing the plasma, which is the liquid portion of the blood is going to get thicker. And if the blood gets thicker, it's going to move. Because I need that extra fluid to move it through the vessels. So, if I give fluid, IV, it's going to go into my vessels. And it's going to make my blood flow better, which is going to get the blood pumping through my heart, which is going to increase or perfuse the rest of my organs, and at the same time, I'm rehydrating the patient. The fluid that's used when we have a patient that's dehydrated is 0.9% normal saline. All right, 0.9% saline is an isotonic solution. Isotonic means isoperfect.
Isoperfect.
So, if I'm isoperfect, I'm fixing my problem. Isotonic fluid is a volume expander. And our main objective when we have loss of fluid in the vessels is to expand that volume in the vessels, and that's what normal saline does. So that is your primary solution to use when someone is dehydrated. And the reason it is isoperfect is because it has the same osmolality as plasma. It's identical to plasma. Did you guys learn osmolality? Yes? No? I have some yeses and I have some no.
Not here.
because water is free. Normal saline is specifically into the vessels and osmolality is the same thing as looking at specific gravity. All right, a normal osmolality of serum, which is what's in your intravascular spaces, is 270 to 300. All right, so your plasma osmolality is 270 to 300. Your 0.9 normal saline has the same osmolality. Now, just like specific gravity, if I'm dehydrated, my serum osmolality is going to do what?
Go down.
Increase. All right, and it increases, meaning that the blood is thicker, it's more concentrated. So when we're dehydrated, osmolality is going to go up, specific gravity is going to go up. You guys back there having an issue?
Yeah, we're discussing the osmolality.
Okay.
I was wondering why we couldn't name Ringer's lactate.
Ringer's lactate is usually reserved for burns because Ringer's lactate has electrolytes in it. We don't use it for fluid resuscitation. Yes.
Ringer's lactate.
It's for burns.
All right. So we said when we're dehydrated, our blood is going to get thicker, right? If we're overhydrated and we have too much fluid, what's going to happen to our blood? It's going to get thinner. So our osmolality is going to decrease. Another way of looking at volume in the body is your hematocrit. Right? Hematocrit can be falsely elevated or falsely lowered depending on how much fluid you have in your blood. So, if my osmolality is high, my hematocrit is going to be high. If my osmolality is low, my hematocrit is going to be low. So hematocrit can be falsely elevated or falsely decreased based on dehydration or fluid overload. So when you're looking at hematocrit, you want to take a look at hemoglobin and RBCs, and if they're all within normal limits, then you kind of know that the hematocrit is changing because of volume or fluid in the body. So you have your osmolality, you have your hematocrit, you have your aldosterone and your ADH that all can tell you about volume in the body and your specific gravity. Hematocrit, no, 35 to 52%. Depends again on the book, and men and women have different, but the range is about 35 to 52. far so good? You sure? So, you got this?
If it's high,
It makes sense?
it's high in 100 also.
How about my three little friends
the
back
height.
there?
Thank you.
With the inquisitive looking faces. Especially the one in the middle. I'm afraid of her. Is she okay?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yep.
You sure? Okay. Just checking. I have to check. All right. All right. And should I really tell you or should I just say? Let's continue on here. I don't want to overload you. All right. So when we look at water balance, all right, we say that the average adult takes in about 25 mL of fluid per day. All right, so we take in about 1,000 mL orally. We take in about 1,300 mL of fluid from food. And we take in about 2,000 mL just from normal metabolism. 200, sorry. So that gives us 2,500 mL taken. All right, now again, like I said, it all depends on how much you eat and how much you drink. Everybody's different. On average, we put out about 1,500 mL of urine per day. All right, the lungs, we get rid of about 300 mL of fluid. In the GI, we get rid of about 100 to 200. And then from sweat and evaporation, we lose about 500 mL per day. So we put out about 2,500. Okay, so we're losing what we're putting in. Now, if I put in 2,500 and I was in respiratory distress and I was breathing very, very quickly, I could conceivably put out at least 500 or 600 mL just from breathing fast. So my output is going to exceed my input. If my output exceeds my input, what's going to happen? I'm going to get dehydrated. If my intake exceeds my output, I'm going to be overhydrated. Okay, so this is an average person. It's not a normal person, but it's average. And again, everything we talk about in nursing is based on the general average person. All right, do not compare it to yourself. Do not compare it to your neighbor. All right, it is what it is. Okay, you know to adjust it. So when we work as nurses, we take INO very seriously. Because INO is also another way of knowing whether my patient is becoming overloaded or dehydrated. Okay? So not only am I looking at oral fluids, but I might be looking at IV fluids as well. Now, when we administer IV fluids are usually set to administer what a normal average adult would take in a day. So that's how they figure out how much to give an hour. All right? If a person was severely dehydrated and we were running in 3 or 4 liters of fluid very quickly, all right, what could conceivably happen to the patient? We can overload them with fluid. So as nurses, it's important to watch your patient. What would you hear if somebody, or what would you see if somebody was fluid overloaded?
Edema.
Waggles, increased blood pressure, weight gain.
Short of breath.
Huh?
Shortness of breath.
What?
Shortness of
breath.
breath.
Shortness of breath, absolutely. All right, so you would be looking for signs as a nurse of dehydration versus overhydration. So if I'm dehydrated and I'm running fluid in quickly, I need to make sure I don't overhydrate my patient. So again, when you are dealing with IV fluids, it's important to keep strict I&O. Because that's really one of the ways you're going to start to notice if the patient is fluid overloaded or dehydrated. Okay? We already said that our brain controls or our hypothalamus controls our thirst mechanism, and that tells us we're thirsty and tells us to drink. This is just a picture. All right, we talked about this already. All right, so kidneys, sodium, and ADH's role in fluid balance. We know that our kidneys filter about 180 liters of fluid per day, or plasma per day. And we only excrete about 1,500 ml. So the body, if you think about it, has a lot of fluid in it, all right? The amount of fluid or blood that we pump through the heart every minute is 5 to 6 liters of fluid. So we're pumping 5 to 6 liters of fluid through the heart every time our heart beats. Okay? So kidneys filter 180 of plasma. Of that 180 liters, only 1,500 is excreted as urine. The rest of it goes back into the body as nutrients. Right, we talked about ABGs or acid-base balance already. All right, we're looking at pH. pH is what tells us whether we are too acidic or too alkaline. All right, CO2 or bicarb tells us whether it's respiratory or metabolic. Personal thing, honestly. I mean, it's like me, I only drink only spring water. I don't like the taste of any other water. But water is water, isn't it? Nobody tastes it. To me, they don't. So, people think you're crazy when you buy bottled water. Why aren't you drinking out of that water? It's free. It's coming out of your faucet. That water tastes worse. So, I think it's all personal choice, because there's nothing written anywhere that says drinking alcohol water is beneficial.
But she's better though, explaining than him.
Right, because you always want to
How much they keep liquid out every day?
Kidney puts out about 1,500 mLs. When it filters 180 liters of plasma per day. So whatever it excretes is waste, and whatever it holds on to is nutrients that are just reabsorbed back into the body.
Oh yeah, man.
With extracellular and intracellular fluid, your predominant electrolytes in your extracellular fluid is your sodium, and in your intracellular is your
Potassium.
Can you say that again, please? I couldn't hear you.
And I talk so loud. Extracellular fluid predominant electrolyte is sodium. Intracellular predominant electrolyte is potassium. Now I know you guys heard of ATP pump. You know, in that 5th grade, all right, that ATP pump needs energy, and it's what maintains the balance between your sodium and your potassium. So we have a lot of sodium in the extracellular, but we have little bits of potassium. Just like we have lots of potassium here, but we also have little bits of sodium. But the predominant is your potassium. All right, sodium and potassium are cations because they are positively charged. Bicarb and chloride are anions because they're negatively charged. And we know that anions and cations like to pair with each other. So sodium pairs with chloride, and that's how we get sodium chloride. Potassium pretty much pairs with bicarb. So that's how we have sodium bicarb. Okay? We know that water in the body acts as a solvent, all right? We know that we move from a higher to a lower, or a lower to a higher gradient. You're probably going to learn osmosis and diffusion and all that stuff. You'll learn it. Kappa.
Oh, come on.
Right? You learn that Kappa?
It's better. It's better for you.
You don't really need to see. To me, I'm not going to teach you because to me it means not. But if you learn it in Kappa, you have to know.
We don't learn it
No.
in Papa. We try to get ready.
You get ready. All right, water is also a transport medium, okay? It transports nutrients, right, through the body. And it also participates in metabolic reactions, right? Water has to do with pH balance. Kidneys have to do with maintaining an acid-base balance. All right, this just shows you which cations are and anions are predominant in which parts of the fluid. All right, intracellular versus interstitial versus plasma. All right, this just goes back around about your pH again. Alkalosis. Now, 4 disorders of body fluids. The first one is edema. All right, edema can be caused by interference with venous return, which would mean that we have fluid of the blood in the lower extremities, which would cause edema. All right? Interference with venous return would be if our muscle contraction and relaxation weren't working properly. So muscle contraction and relaxation is what moves the blood from the lower extremities back into the heart. All right? So venous return is getting the blood from the lower extremities back to the heart. If our muscles were not contracting properly or relaxing properly, or we had an electrolyte imbalance such as potassium imbalance, which causes muscle weakness, then we would have a harder time moving blood back to the heart. Therefore, we have pooling of blood, which could cause edema. Kidney failure can cause edema. My kidneys aren't functioning, I'm not putting out fluid, not urinating, which means I'm holding on to fluid, which is going to cause volume overload, which again is going to cause edema. Protein or plasma protein. Plasma protein is all about the same thing, pretty much letting go or holding on to fluid. So if I'm losing protein, I'm holding on to fluid. All right? In kidney failure or kidney disease, what happens? We lose protein in the urine. So what happens to the body? It becomes edematous. Increased permeability of the capillary walls. All right, if we have increased permeability, more fluid is going to be going in and out of the cells or the capillaries. If we have a blockage of the lymphatic system, that means that lymphatic fluid is going to start to build up. And if anybody's ever seen anybody with lymphedema, all right, lymphedema is due to a blockage in your lymphatic system, which causes that lymph fluid to accumulate in that specific area. And you've seen with lymphedema, they could have legs that look like tree trunks. All right? Hyponatremia, which is low sodium, we see with fluid volume overload. Fluid volume overload means we have a lot of fluid in the extracellular space. So if I have a lot of fluid in the extracellular space, what's going to happen to the sodium? It's going to decrease because it's going to be more dilute. All right, so sodium gets diluted in water, therefore you have dilutional hyponatremia. If I'm dehydrated and I have no fluid, and we already know my body is holding on to salt, what's going to happen if I'm dehydrated to my sodium? It's gonna increase, so I'm gonna have hypernatremia. All right, normal sodium level is 135 to 145. And normal potassium is 3.5 to 5. When the body is holding on to sodium, it's excreting potassium. When we're excreting sodium, we're holding on to potassium. If the body is holding on to sodium, all right, in dehydration, all right, technically, if we're holding on to sodium, we're excreting potassium. If we're excreting sodium, then we're holding on to potassium. And of course, there are always exceptions to the rules. But when the body holds on to sodium, it excretes potassium.
That's just generally speaking, right? That's in general to a normal person.
Well, I'm not gonna say it's in general, it's just the mechanism of action of the body. But there are exceptions to the rule. But I'm not gonna get into those because that's beyond what you need to know for this.
Yeah.
Right, that's med surg. All right, effusion, which we talked about before, is excess fluid that accumulates in different cavities. So ascites would be from effusion because fluid is collected in the peritoneal cavity. We said pericardial effusion would be fluid collecting in the pericardial sac. Pleural effusion would be excess fluid collecting in the sac that's around the lung. Right, to look or to measure edema, I'm sure you guys know, we push. All right, so that is called pitting edema. If we can make an indent in the top of the foot where there is edema. All right, edema is measured as